X-Men Days of Future Past is about a not too distant future, basically being the Holocaust with mutants. But this is next-gen Tron Legacy Holocaust, cause lasers and shit. The last few X-Men have been hiding out in a cave in China, so they have to send one mutant back in time to stop Bolivar Trask. I think I have something stuck in my throat. From being killed, so they never had the technology to create the Sentinels. Giant, badass Terminator-like robots things that basically steal other mutants' powers to kill those mutants. It's really kind of weird. I don't really know where they got the idea for that. So they send Wolverine back because money. No, actually, it's because if anyone else tried to do it, their brain would be turned to mush. Wolverine is tasked with making Charles and Eric like each other again after they split in X-Men First Class, and they have to stop Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask, and he has to convince them to start the X-Men again. No pressure. So let's talk about the positives. I really like the 70s setting. X-Men First Class wanted to look like the 60s, but it totally failed because there were no external shots of any cities or the general public. So it was hard to tell what generation it really was. And this one has a lot of it. It shows exterior shots of different cities. It shows a huge fight scene outside in the public. And the public actually has a lot to do with the story, because if it wasn't for Mystique killing Bolivar Trask, then the public would think, oh no, these mutant guys, they're really spooky. We need to send in the government to make a bunch of robots and stuff so we can discriminate, because the symbolism isn't obvious enough. And I like how they integrated that into the story while also fixing the problems with earlier installments. Also, when you're trying to make a movie that looks old and you show a shot of a yacht turning into a fucking submarine, you could tell there was something wrong with the script. Also, I like how they integrated Mystique more into the story and not just having her be a side character or a subplot, basically just to go through the motions and, you know, that kind of stuff. I love the fight scenes. The futuristic fight scenes were really cool, and they didn't really show that much futuristic stuff. And I really liked how Blink and Bishop were also added in just to give a little bit more diversity to the white casting. Okay, let's talk about the negatives. The Sentinels. I didn't like them. At least the futuristic ones. The old 70s one looked fine. I liked how they looked a little bit more comic book accurate, but the newer Sentinels totally ripped off The Day the Earth Stood Still, the remake, at least. I mean, other than that, they were pretty cool. I liked their powers, you know, they were there. They were really cool. I liked how sleek they were, how they moved and stuff like that, but I just didn't like how they reminded me so much of that horrible remake. I didn't like Magneto's suit. It just looks so weird. I would have preferred the one they had at the end of X-Men First Class. I mean, that suit was campy, but at least it looked a little bit more like the original. Luckily, they fixed that in Apocalypse, but I guess we'll get to that later. Oh yeah, continuity errors everywhere. One last thing, I don't like how things just wrapped up all neat and like, it just seemed kind of stupid. And like having Jean Grey be back and Cyclops, it was nice to see them again, but they recast them in the next one, so I don't see the point of having them be back, like they're going to be back for a while when they're not. I've been pondering for a while whether I was going to give this movie an A or an A+, and after rewatching it again and seeing that Quicksilver scene where he's running up the walls and stuff, and just the overall energy of this movie that it gave me feel when I first went to go see it in the theater, I have to give it an A+.